We arrived on a gloomy Monday afternoon. We had taken the regular train from Madrid to Bilbao. Even though it was a 5-hour trip, I would prefer that to a flight because the Bilbao train station is in the heart of the city, close to many accommodations. Our hotel was just a block away. We were able to check in early, get ourselves situated, and start exploring. We went to the Plaza Nueva to sample a few pinchos and then headed to the funicular where we were able to buy our metro pass. The ride up was fun and gave us some great views of the city below. We checked out the park up top. Since the day was still fairly foggy, the mountains in the distance were reminiscent of the Smoky Mountains in North Carolina. The weather in Bilbao is quite mercurial, especially so in the spring, so we had to be ready for the rain, sun, chill, and warmth. So close to the mountains and sea, there were some strong winds about town. When we had exhausted our time in the park, we started our descent down the hill. The road was winding with very little traffic, mostly pedestrian. As we made our way down, the housing began to get more dense, and when the housing switched from standalone houses to apartment buildings on the hillside, we noticed a lot of public elevators and walkways that would make housing more accessible to the locals. Just like the rest of Spain, we were impressed by the infrastructure and the blending of the old with the new. When we got back to the city, we took the metro to the town of Portugalete, where we caught a gondola under the Vizcaya Bridge. This was the first time I'd taken a gondola that acted like a small ferry, capable of taking passengers across the river for the cost of a metro ride, as well as taking several passenger cars across for an additional fee. The bridge above is for pedestrian tourists and costs 11 euros to cross. The bridge connects Portugalete to the town of Gexo, which we checked out before taking the metro back to the city. We also got to see a trainera, a Basque rowboat in action. Fascinating. It is a racing 12-meter fixed-seat boat that features a team of 13 rowers and one coxswain, who coxes while standing. We ended the evening with a dinner at Café Iruna, which has traditional Basque fare, but also a huge dining room that looked like it belonged in Andalusia with a very Moorish flair. Tuesday, the forecast was fairly positive, so we decided to postpone our museum visits and just walked around the city. We checked out the old town, the newer old town, walked along the river, and checked out the Mercado. We were happy to see that much of the Mercado de la Briera had stalls that seemed to be thriving and not just a glorified food hall. We crossed several bridges, some old, some new. Learned some history of the city and region, visited more parks and plazas. In the afternoon, we sampled a few more pinchos, but had filled up on delicious and plentiful continental breakfast at our hotel, so we didn't need a big lunch. And of course, took many, many pictures. Towards the end of the day, we visited the Azcuna Zenora public space and I took video on the ground floor. We had decided to go to a highly rated restaurant in the old town, but it was so full that we went to this restaurant bar, which is deceptively named Rotterdam, because the dinner was a couple of traditional Basque stews, which we shared. Wednesday was our day to go see the Bilbao Guggenheim. We were able to get tickets for the afternoon, so we did more outdoor sightseeing, blessed with some decent weather, some sun, and a lot of overcast. The Guggenheim was worth the visit. There was some art worthy of a world-class museum, and then some that was just good. But the interior and exterior of the Guggenheim were stellar. As you might be able to infer from my photos, I was just as enthralled by the art and engineering of La Salve Bridge that looms large right next to the Guggenheim. We did not cross that bridge, but intend to on a future visit. After the Guggenheim, we went further down the estuary to check out its museum, the cleverly named Maritime Museum, Itzas being a Basque word for sea, which centers around shipbuilding, rowing, and the city's reinvention of its port in the former Uxklunda shipyard. I had booked a pincho cooking class about 20-minute walk from our hotel, so Scott decided to walk with me. But as we were crossing the Nierveron River, really Aria, which is the word for estuary, the heavens opened. So Scott went back and I continued to the class. There were 4 other students at the gastronomia where Chef Miquel showed us how to make 4 delicious pinchos and his torrejas, a little richer than the ones you would get in the rest of Spain around Easter. The pinchos were paired with a Basque white wine, which Miquel poured as if it was sidra. He emailed us the recipes so we can make them at home. I think I will recreate the cod, potato, and garlic mushroom ones at some point, and the torreja next Easter. I got waddled back to the hotel, heavier than I had been before the lesson. Thursday morning, we packed up our small maleta and left it at the hotel so we could have our final walk around the city. We revisited some highlights over the river and the Aresteco Park. I'm not good at pronouncing words that are Basque, which is a very strange language. There are many cool things that we have yet to see in the Basque region, and we really just scratched the surface of things to see and do in Bilbao. One day, the high-speed rail might extend from Madrid to Bilbao. Until then, we can slow down our pace to visit this incredible region where we will never understand the native tongue. Spanish still kicks our ass. Pinchos is my favorite word in Basque, and I'll be happy to leave it at that.